Hi, I'm Coach Amber, and welcome to the Revero Success Story Podcast. Today we have Joel with us, and he will be sharing his story about a meat-based diet. Welcome, Joel.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Okay, so Joel, tell us a little bit about what your life was like, what your health was like prior to starting a meat-based diet.
Right. Yeah. Well, I was suffering from psoriasis from a really young age. So I'm not sure exactly when, but I mean, it's something that I've had all my life. It was from when I was a young toddler, a young child. And I was getting treatments for that from a very young age. I was a school child and stuff, and nothing that really worked in any way. So I'd always had psoriasis. So I'd obviously always had autoimmune issues from a young age. But I don't think they were as well understood as they are now. And I think, when a lot of people generally know what autoimmune issues are now, whereas, 30, 35 years ago, whatever, it wasn't something that people really knew much about at all. I think the internet's made it something that's been, you get where I'm coming from, don't you? But my psoriasis was the earliest signs of anything. And then that led to psoriatic arthritis, which, and I know it does with quite a lot of people. And that just became, that was sort of in my late teens. I started getting the symptoms of the arthritic symptoms. But again, that's something that wasn't diagnosed until much later. But yeah, I was getting pretty chronic joint pain with the psoriatic arthritis and ankylosing spondylitis as well in my spine. So really bad inflammation in my spine, in my neck, just all the joints in my body, basically. And this just progressively got worse as I got older. And it was something that it started as something, I think when you're a teenager, you just think these are growing pains, and it progressively gets worse and worse. And I'd got to the point where that was just normal life for me. I just kind of thought, this is pain that I've got to deal with for the rest of my life, one way or another. And doctors were just, I was misdiagnosed several times over the years, and they were of no help whatsoever. So yeah, I've lived the vast majority of my life in chronic pain, which is, like I say, it progressively got worse as I got older.
Don't you just love the chronic pain? Well, it's just something that you're just going to have to live with. So, it's the new normal. Yeah.
This tends to be the diagnosis, I think, for a lot of people with autoimmune issues. That's what doctors say. I know a lot of doctors are well-meaning, but I just don't think they understand how these things can be controlled.
Totally agree. Okay, so when you first started a meat-based diet, how did you implement it? Like, what were you eating? And did you have any transitional issues?
Right. Well, initially, I was just ruminant meat initially, because when I picked up on the carnivore thing online, where I'd seen people talking about it online, I thought, right, what have I got to lose? It's like I need to give this a go because I've got nothing to lose. And people were saying, try it for a month and see how you feel and see if there's any if there's any difference in your symptoms. And I thought, I'll give it a go. And the advice that I'd got from that was stick to ruminant animals. So it was initially just beef, lamb, water and eggs, really. And I was having some dairy because I was using butter to cook with. But I cut out liquid dairy and, you know, yogurt and anything like that. It was just butter I was using. So initially, yeah, it was just beef and lamb, and just ruminant animals. As I've gone on through this way of eating for this amount of time now, I've eaten pork, and like now I eat pork and chicken regularly, and things like that, and I don't have any issues with those. But yeah, I mean, for the first year, I was just eating beef and lamb for a year, and sorry, eggs as well. I've never had any issues with eggs, so I was always eating eggs as well. That was for the first year. Transitional issues, I didn't really get any, to be honest. Nothing serious. I was quite lucky with it, but I mean, I had a day where I had just absolutely no. This is like when I was getting fat adapted, and through that phase. So I think it was about 6 weeks into it when I really hit that fat adaptation period, and I was just my body obviously switched to just running on purely on fat. I think it was about 5-6 weeks in, and at that point I just had a day of just being absolutely exhausted and having zero energy for about 24 hours, and that was it. It kind of came and went. I didn't really get any fatigue symptoms or anything like that. Nothing long lasting anyway. Just that initial transition into the fat adaptation phase. But yeah, other than that, it was pretty smooth, to be honest.
Awesome. Okay, so here comes the good stuff. Let's hear about all of the things that have improved since you've been going meat-based. What have you noticed?
Right. Well, initially, I think the main reason I stuck with it, and I've kept going this long, because I've been eating this way 3.5 years now. But I think initially, sort of 2 weeks, I'd say 2 weeks into eating just the beef and lamb or whatever, just meat. 2 weeks in, it was just the massive relief in my arthritic pain and my inflammation. It was just, the change was, I mean, within 2 weeks, it was incredible. It was incredible. It really was. And I realized, I think I'd been so used to living in chronic pain for so long, I'd forgotten what it was like to feel normally with muscular and joint pain. I'd forgotten what it's like. I hadn't had a day where I'd felt normal, and it was just such a shock, really, of how good I felt within a couple of weeks. That was like the initial, that was just the initial improvement straight away, and that's what kept me going straight away. And my mental health just peaked after, again, I mean, it didn't peak after a couple of weeks, but I went from being, obviously, I think it was to do with being so inflamed all the time physically. That affected my mental health a lot of the time. I felt terrible all the time. So mentally, I just felt, you know, I was down, depressed, anxious a lot. And that was within a few weeks, that was just alleviated completely. So that was another one that was that initial, I think that gave me that initial drive just to keep going, because I just thought, this is incredible. This is the way I feel after. I mean, I actually remember driving home from work one night, and I was almost in tears, because I was just thinking to myself, I have no pain. I have no physical pain. And I'd lived for years, for so long, where just sitting in the car just to drive, I'd be in pain. My joints would be in pain just from sitting. It wasn't, you know, like extreme activity, like lifting anything too heavy or whatever, that was causing me joint pain. just sitting in one position for a few minutes could cause me joint pain. And yeah, I remember just driving home from work and almost being in tears because I thought, this is miraculous, you know, the way I'm feeling and how good I feel. This was all within the first, like I say, the first few weeks. And yeah, that drove me on really, just to continue with it and just carry on the journey really and see where it'd take me. Since then, I mean, like I say, it's been 3.5 years, but I mean, it's complete. My body composition's completely changed. I've managed to build muscle a lot easier, and it's my posture improved. All the joint pain's just gone. Like, you know, the inflammation, it's completely just gone now. You know, going from being in pain every single hour of every day and waking up to that every day to, you know, having no pain whatsoever. It's a massive shift. I mean, that's for me, that's the main thing. But I mean, there was so many other benefits as well, on top of all this. So obviously that was my main autoimmune issues that subsided. My psoriasis that I'd had since I was a small child. I mean, I'd say it's 95% healed, which is pretty good. And I know if I do have dairy now, not massive amounts, but I'll have cream in my coffee. I'll have yogurt every now and again, you know, just dairy that I enjoy. I try to avoid liquid dairy like milk in large amounts, but I'll have it in coffee every now and again. And I don't really get any major issues, you know, if I'm not, but I do notice my psoriasis will flare up a little if I'm drinking too much dairy. So I tend to stay away from massive amounts of dairy and just have small amounts. But yeah, other than that, I mean, my psoriasis 95% healed, which is, again, just after living with that from a young age and having quite severe plaque psoriasis on my arms, the majority of my shins and my legs. They were, you know, it was bad from a young age, and they'd constantly be bleeding and sore, you know, from a very young age. I mean, I've got quite drastic scarring on my shins from years and years of just there being open wounds, really. I mean, that like I say, it's 95% cleared, so that's another massive sort of game changing thing for me. I mean, there's so many other things I could go on about. I mean, gingivitis, I had quite bad gingivitis, and I believe they say that that's incurable. I always had quite bad gums for years, and that went away completely within a few months. So no more bleeding gums when you brush your teeth. The mental clarity of it is just fantastic. The mental health side of it, I think, is an absolute. It's just such a game changer, and I didn't realize how drastically foods affected your mental health until I ate like this, I suppose, and you know, I think maybe certain foods affect certain people more than others, but I think when you get down to you strip it right back, and you eat strictly carnivore, you can sort of see the real benefits, the mental benefits of it, for the mental health aspect of it. And it's just how great it makes you feel, you know, like the energy you get from it on the, you know, day to day, the energy from it all. And it's a completely different way of living, I find. It's not just, you know, I'm not really keen on the term diet for it, because it becomes, you know, it just does become a way of living. It really does.
It's true.
Um,
And that's so negative when you hear that, way of living now, it's like almost as negative as diet, but it's true.
it's true, yeah. I mean, it's changed my life in such a massive way. And I don't know, people say you can get really religious and about diet, and uh, I admit that I have done, because it has been such a massive shift in my life with me, because I think when you go from living with chronic autoimmune issues for decades, and then you sort of like flip that switch and you get all of those into remission, and then your body starts getting stronger all the time, and you can just feel yourself getting healthier and healthier all the time. I think that's it's something that it does feel like a miracle. It does feel quite miraculous. Yeah, so I mean, there's a host of other things as well. I mean, I could go on and on about it, and I think that's generally what seems to be what most people benefit from carnivore way of eating. Your skin just feeling great and glowing, and your nails, your hair, little things like that. I mean, as a carnivore, you tend to look, you look extremely healthy. People comment to me and say, "Oh, you look great." And for my age, people will say, "You look great for your age," and they'll age me sort of at least 10 years younger than I am, which that's a nice feeling, isn't it, for all of us, really, feel like that. But I mean, it is the diet that does that that does that for you, because it's I mean, I don't know the science behind it, but it works.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
it's a positive. It's just it's such a positive outcome, I think, for anybody that sort of that seems to try it. So.
Well, Joel, it has been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
No, thank you. Thanks for connecting with me, and thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, Joel.
You too. Bye-bye. Bye.
Join Revero.health for a 30-day free trial to get access to live Q&A with VIP guests, social community meetings, member discounts, low-carb healthcare providers list, forum, workouts, monthly challenges, early access to podcasts, recipes, carnivore diet guide, fasting guide, shred guide, and much more.